What is going on, YouTube? My name is Crom, and over the past couple years, I have been helping creators and myself grow on social media. One in particular, I've helped grow to 252,000 on YouTube, as well as 440,000 on Instagram. And in back of December of 2024, I decided to start my own personal brand, and over the last 9-10 months, I have realized a lot about creating content as well as growing a personal brand. And a big factor that I have learned is that a lot of people, such as myself, started off creating a lot of content at volume, and it led to burnout. We stopped, being creative, and we stopped, having that feeling of motivation to want to post content. And what I realized is that a lot of creators need to develop and create systems, processes, and frameworks that they can use to systemize their processes so that if they do have moments where they are feeling less creative or that are not as motivated to create content, they can lean on in order to keep the consistency and keep the discipline, especially in the world of social media now, to keep creating content. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down a popular creator slash influencers framework that I listened on one of their podcasts called the Creator Vision Framework by Jun Yu. If anybody knows him, I'll link his channel down below. But I'm going to be breaking down his simple creator vision framework so that you can start creating your personal brand today. So I'll see you in the diagram. Alrighty, everybody. So as you guys can see here, this is Jun Yu's Creator Vision Framework. And as you can see here, I actually have used it in the past for not only my own personal branding framework, but also for clients that I actually have. This is the first person I ever actually used it with. This business is called Havah. I'll leave her link down in the description. And pretty much what this framework entails are 4 different segments on what, who, why you are unique, and your monetization method. And pretty much in each different bucket, we are going to be asking a couple questions that you want to answer so you can become specifically clear on the exact plan of execution that you want to go through. So in the first pillar, before we even think about anything about your personal brand, you want to first establish what you want to be known for. Because if you don't even know what you want to be known for yet, how are you going to know what kind of content that you want to create, right? Because if you want to be known for somebody who wants to be a fitness coach, why would you want to be talking about wealth building and, financial literacy? They don't make sense. They don't align. So the first question you want to answer before we even start is, what do you want to be known for? So in this situation, my client wanted to be known to be a wealth consultant and a coach in the financial education segment / finance industry. So her content pillars that she created, which are your main topics, are wealth building. She's very, very passionate about astrology and financial literacy. And then we have like a health and wellness content bucket as well, that once she gets a little bit more segmented in what she wants to be known for, we are going to add in some health and wellness content just to kind of deepen who she is as a person and maybe potentially hit other people of things that she's passionate about and resonate with those people. But once you have your main topics of what you want to be known for and what you can actually talk about, so wealth building, astrology, financial literacy, if you want to go back to that fitness example of being a fitness coach, it could be workout plans, diet plans, stretching, and it could be supplementation. Those are your main categories. Underneath each main category, you want to break them down into subcategories. So in this situation for my client, wealth building, she has insurance, IUL, which is Index Universal Life Insurance, cryptocurrency, stocks, taxes, and LLCs and trusts. So these are subtopics that are umbrellaed under wealth building. And then she has astrology, market cycles, etc., and financial literacy. She has mindset, budgeting, investing, etc. So as I said with the fitness example, you can have what I said, your diets, your workout plans, your supplementation. Underneath your workout plans, you could have your bro split. You could have, your push-pull legs. You could have your upper, lower, and rest. Whatever your subcategories are for your workout plans, you want to put there. Then for the second one, you had your diet plans. You could have high calorie, low fat. You could have high protein, low carb. You could have, losing weight diet plans, gaining muscle diet plans. You just want to talk about different diet plans that could go underneath that diet plan. And then in supplementation, you could break it down into natural supplements. If you're somebody who, understands a lot about the supplementation and compounds that go into bodybuilding, like creatine, creatinine, vitamin D3, you name it, vitamin C, magnesium, whatever. You want to break down different things you can talk about supplementation, what are good to use at nighttime, what are good to use in the morning, what kind of supplementation to use as beginners, whatever. You just want to have subcategories to each main topic that you can speak about, so that if there ever is a situation where you run out of content ideas, you always have something you can fall back on or reiterate on that you can use in time of need. So that's number one. That is the first pillar of what. Now, the second pillar is who. So once you establish what you want to be known for, who are the type of people that would be consuming your content, or you would like to be targeting your content? So what kind of people do you want to coach? What kind of people do you want watching your content that will be most ideal? So in my client's situation here, if she wants to be known as a wealth consultant or a financial coach, she wants to be targeting people who are 9-to-5 workers, i.e. the working class. And this is her target avatar or, target person. So we broke it up into two different categories, which is your demographics, which is your location, your occupation, where they work, where they're located, their age, etc. And then you have psychographics, which are their pain points, what they desire, things they, go through. So in this situation, she has the working class men and women looking to build a life for themselves between the ages of 24 to 45 years old, living in the United States or Canada, and they work desk jobs or they're blue-collar workers. And their psychographics are they're living paycheck to paycheck, they're not investing enough into their future, they lack financial literacy, focus, lack purpose, and they have no discipline. In the example of what we're talking about, the fitness example, demographics could be high schoolers, men and women looking to get physically back in shape or to lose weight or to gain muscle. It could be between the ages of 18 to 65 years old, living in the United States, Canada, you name it. And most of their jobs are people who are not very physically fit. They work at a desk job, they sit around, whatever. Their psychographics could be that they struggle with eating, they have a hard time losing weight and staying on routine, they lack focus and discipline, they don't have the knowledge of what it is to count macros or to adjust their calories accordingly. And you can, as long as you can get very, very dialed in on exactly what your ideal person is struggling with, what they desire, and, their current location, it'll make it much, much more easier to actually target these people on your content. And what we say in the marketing world is that if you make your content too broad and you're trying to market to everyone, you're going to be targeting no one. But if you create your content and you target one specific person, you're going to be dialed in and speaking to exactly that one person. You'll be hitting everybody you need. So a big example of this, and we'll use the fitness example, is if you wanted to create a video about someone who wanted to either lose weight or gain weight, you could start your video as, are you somebody who is struggling to lose weight right now? Or you're trying to gain on muscle? Listen to these 3 tips. That's super, super broad. It could be anybody. But let's say you want to change it and you want to dial it into somebody who is your target avatar. You could be like, are you somebody who's straight out of high school, either 19 years old or 20 years old, man or woman, and you've been working in the gym for the last 5 years trying to eat food to gain more weight, or you're trying to, walk on the treadmill every single day and you're not losing weight? Try these things and see if it will help you. Whatever. It was not a very good example, but the more dialed in that you could talk about your video and target a specific person, the easier it'll be for somebody to be like, wow, he understands my pain. He knows what I'm trying to get to. He understands me. Like for me, for example, because I have a fitness background and, I used to compete back in the day. If I were to target myself or somebody who was like me, I'd be like, are you a 19-year-old that was 140 pounds coming out of high school and you've tried every single diet in the book and you were literally eating until you felt full and you still couldn't put on muscle? Try these different foods and eat at these specific times in order to start gaining muscle and put on an extra 10 pounds in 6 months. Like that's someone who, if it were me watching that, I'd be like, dude, he knows me. Like this is what I need. So dial in on your specific person, learn everything about them, what they struggle with, what they want to get out of it, and it'll make your life much, much more easier when creating your content. Number 3, this is where we talk about you. What makes you unique? Your truth, your passions, your own pain points, your experiences, and your skill set. So in this example of my client, she has a very, very big set of things. She has a lot of her truths. She has a lot of passions, a lot of pain points that she struggled with, experiences, skill sets, you name it. So the reason why you want to label these things out is because people connect with people before they connect with anything else, and people buy from coaches before they pay for coaching. So there is obviously going to be people out there that are much more qualified in talking about what you're going to talk about, or know a lot more than what you know. But based on your own experiences, people will end up connecting with you deeper, and they'll want to go with you because they understand what you went through, and you'll understand what they're going through because you've already been through it. So in this situation, she could talk about all of her past experiences on how she lost money in crypto and how now she is growing a 6-figure portfolio for herself and her family. But she was only able to build that portfolio because she went and she lost money and invested in the scam projects. And, she ended up getting the skill set on how to actually develop a financial strategy. And she developed financial knowledge in order for her to get to that point. Using the fitness example that we've been using, for example, and we'll speak about this on me because I can relate to the fitness example, is I'm very passionate in fitness. My pain point is that in high school, I weighed like 90 to 100 pounds in high school, and I was super scrawny and I had little to no muscle. And, over the course of, 3-4 years, I ended up getting a personal coach. I ended up learning how to count my macros and develop my maintenance calories and my surplus calories. I ended up going into a bodybuilding show and winning my competition. And I ended up gaining, over 30 pounds of muscle over the course of, 2-3 years. So, you heard my pain point. I was a skinny kid growing up. You heard about my experience. I went through 2-3 years of constant eating and trial and error and hiring a coach, and ended up competing in bodybuilding to eventually win it. So now you know my skill set, and you have my experience on how many things I had to go to get there. So people are like, oh, wow, he's gone through it. Here's his results. I trust him because he went through the process and I can see how it benefited him. So don't be afraid to share your wins, your losses, what you've gone through, because I'm guaranteeing you there are people out there that have gone through the exact same situation, if not very similar to you, and you'll relate with your audience a lot more, right? So now you have 3. The last thing is monetization. So if you are somebody who wants to build a personal brand in order to, make money in the long run, build a bigger community and potentially, make money off of your audience, whatever. You want to have a monetization strategy. This isn't necessarily something you need to do, but if your goal is to create a business off of your personal brand in the future and potentially quit your job or doing whatever you're doing, having a strategy of how to monetize your content is a very good idea. So in this situation, she's already doing this as kind of her career of being a coach, but she wanted to build it off of her own brand. So in this, we have these things called MVPs, which is what Junyu practices. What he talks about is called minimum viable products, which is the easiest form that you could give value from that people can pay for. So in this situation, we have ebooks, guides, PDFs, courses, coaching. We just have a list of things that you could do. You could start off by just creating ebooks. So in her case, she has a financial literacy guide, like a crypto 101. Going back to the fitness example, we could have 5 fitness tips to start putting on to start growing muscle. 5 simple foods you can start eating to lose weight. 5 different exercises you can start using to build a bigger and rounder chest. 5 exercises you want to avoid if you are experiencing shoulder pain. 5 exercises or movements you can use to stretch out your back if you're having back pain. There's so many different things you could create that you can monetize and start selling on different platforms like Standstore, Beacons, your own website, you name it. And then eventually you start scaling more. Once you start having guides, you start creating mini courses, or once you start creating courses, you start offering coaching, you name it. So overall, a takeaway of the video is you want to start asking yourself what you want to be known for and creating your content pillars. Once you have your content pillars and your main topics, create subtopics for those main topics. Then you want to remember and ask yourself who you want to target. Where are they located? What do they struggle with? What do they want to get as their end goal? What are you wanting to provide as a solve to that? Then talk about your own experiences, what makes you unique, your truth, your passions, etc. You name it. Then once you have all that, develop a strategy on what kind of things you can create to monetize your knowledge so you can sell for potentially money to your audience once you have your audience. All right. So this was Junyu's creator vision framework that I also use myself as well as clients that I work with, that creates a simple framework to start developing your content strategy as well as kind of start developing your ICP, which is your ideal customer profile. And once you start using this, I will tell you that creating content and building your personal brand will become a lot easier because you have a strategy and a framework to fall back on instead of just throwing stuff in the air and moving without a strategy. So if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to follow me and hit that subscribe button down below. You can also DM me on Instagram. I'm willing to answer any questions. I might also include a blank template of this framework that you guys can download so that you can start filling it out for yourself. And as I always say in my reels on Instagram, I will see you guys in the next video.